In Kyrgyzstan, a mankurt is a slave that has had their head wrapped in camel skin, and in the hot sun it contracts, making a lobotomized droid devoid of life that does not remember their past or family. Red Shambhala Larp is the modern equivalent of self-mankurtization. This is a masochistic ritual practiced online every single day, every hour, and every minute by each Red Shambhala edit posted by a Westoid 14-year-old. The main tragedy of this is that it is not transcendence, but instead ideological suicide in the name of rationalism. Red Shambhala collapses once even slightly take in actual communist origins or theories, how other ideologies function, and even Red Shambhala's inspiration. So what is communism based off? Communism is a response to materialistic conditions under the Industrial Revolution. Karl Marx looked at history not as culture, not as a human spirit, not as ideas, but material conditions, and exploitation as a driver of human progress, and the battle against it as progress. That is called historical materialism. In this viewpoint, culture and religion has no value because that is not what causes progress. In fact, Marx himself said, religion is the opium of the people. For Marx, religion and culture are sedatives to distract us from the living standard, a form of drug so that the people do not rebel. In communist theory, true meaning is only seen as chemical contamination. So if religion is actually a drug, why would they LARP as Buddhist monks? Communism is a cold worldview in which culture, religion, and philosophy does not exist. The only thing that matters is class, labor, and exploitation. Communism is in a way a nationalist dictator that ethnically replaces the spirit with spreadsheets. So why are they LARPing as esoteric Buddhist communist monks and make Kali Yuga edits when their ideology follows that worldview? They are cosplaying as esoteric visionaries. But why would they do this if their worldview is against it entirely? This worldview is not just in theory. When communism or communist adjacent governments gain power, there is a pattern. The Soviet Union banned religion, desecrated churches, and forced atheism onto the population. They sterilized culture for one Eurasian culture. In China, Mao ravaged Chinese traditional culture and its monuments and its religion for the name of communism. But in a communist worldview, this is necessary to keep this materialistic ideology in place. It is important to remove everything that is not materialistic to begin with. Esotericism and the spirit cannot function under communism because it is inherently against the spirit and this animalistic level of intelligence. When it comes to esotericism and religion is exactly why internet communists are mankurts. You do not see this plainly psychiatric behavior in other materialistic ideologies. Libertarianism does not have a yellow Shambhala because they know their place and their ideology. Libertarianism is similar to communism in the way that it is materialistic and believes in materialism over spirit, and views its system not as esoteric, not as just, but as an efficient system that solves solutions and gives individual liberty. It does not promise secret kingdoms or ancient spiritual knowledge because that is not their target audience. Their target audience is people who only care about materialism, and it does not hide it. Even though you might not like libertarianism, you have to agree that it is true to its origins and goals. Hans Hoppe did not wish for spiritual enlightenment. Adam Smith was not a prophet to spread the secret word of the invisible hand. They still believe in the materialistic origins it was founded on. Can you see the difference? For some reason, communism has this fetish to not only be materialistic, but also spiritual at the same time. For this phenomenon, there's no other word to describe this but pure LARP. Some might even ask, where did this mystical cosplay come from? Why does communism have the red Shambhala and libertarianism does not? This mostly comes out of jealousy and recruitment practicality. The first internet ideology to make a mythos of their beliefs is National Socialists, which even though I do not support racist ideologies, they actually have a justification. Nazi Germany had the Thule Society. They used pagan symbolism, blood and soil narratives, and the infamous Agartha, which is where the modern day meme comes from. These narratives inspired state loyalty for a joint identity against barbarians. It mobilized both love and hate at the same time for a syncretization that made people feel, providing not only a lover, but also an enemy. But this has led to dark places where millions of people died and brought trauma. But that trauma was recently lost by this generation, and they yearn for that same mobilization of love and hate, not the disapproval of one or the other. A world where emotion and beauty is back and cold rationalism is out. But what happens when this technique is brought back online? This brings the rapid rise of the far right on the internet. So communists, becoming reasonably worried, they started making their own esoteric mythos that contradicts their own ideas, putting the dead skin of the spirit onto a materialistic alien. This red Shamballah is self-monetization because it destroys its own ideologies to fit the needs of the current system. This is intellectual, or depending on the communist, ignorant dishonesty. There's no reasons for communists to be saying surf the Kali Yuga. This is not your thing! But what happens when you lied to yourself and your ideas for so long? This isn't just harmless internet LARP. This voluntary monetization masks itself as solving problems when it is essentially an infectious disease. I acknowledge the internet as a traditional territory of incels.